Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Sailor King of Pen, Sakura Nagare. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. We have a Danitrio, and this is a Chinkin Cage Momata on Takumi. We have another Danitrio here, and this is the Takumi, and this is the Moonlit Grass Maquis. We have a Visconti, Last Templar, Jacques de Molay, an Onoto Magna Carta, an Onoto Rosetta Stone, a Montegrappa, and this is a Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles. And then we have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. This is a very beautiful, stunning Maquis pen, and I absolutely adore this pen. Now, a lot of people say I like bling, and I honestly don't think I do. Like, there's bling and there's bling, and this is neither of those blings. But this pen does stand out for sure. The reasons why I like it is this is a Sailor King of Pen, and it is the Sakura Nagare, and you'll see here it has abalone shell here inlaid into that pen, and it spirals around, and there's a lot of gold dust. So a lot of people say that this is a little bit of a bling pen. Now, you can, on a lot of Maquis, you can't actually feel the sort of abalone shell that's on the pen, but here you can. If I run my finger over that bit, it feels quite rough. It almost like a cobbled sort of stone street. Now, the gold dust is actually very smooth. You do not feel that because of the lacquer. But there is a lacquer over the Maquis. So this is a Raden. Raden is the way that you effectively layer like abalone shell onto a device or a pen. But as you can see, this is, I'll show you here, Sailor, Japan. And this is founded 1911, and this is a really nice size King of Pen. Now, if I unscrew the cap, you'll see it's got a larger number 8 size King of Pen nib, and it says 1911. It is a cartridge converter pen, and you can see that there. But this is a really good size in my hand. Can I post this cap? I can. But because this abalone shell is actually quite raised, I really don't like to post this because you might end up scratching the abalone shell, putting marks on it. You might even get to a point where one or two of those will actually chip off. So I really don't like posting the cap on this. As you probably know by now, I'm not normally a cap poster. But this is a beautiful size pen. For me, it's the right size. I do like the length of the pen, and I like the girth of the pen as well in terms of the section there. I do like King of Pens, and to be honest, I need to write. I've got a bunch more Sailor King of Pens. I have, I think, a couple in regular torpedo or cigar shape. I have a couple, or at least a couple, in the Pro Gear shape. So I do need to actually think about writing with those a little bit more. I do like them. Now, the next pen is a Classic Pens LB5. Now, this is actually also made by Sailor for Classic Pens. This was a number of years ago. I want to say, I'd need to look it up in my database, but I think it was around 2012, 13, maybe 2015 that the LB5s were made. Really nice pens. But you can see here, even though made by Sailor, even though it's made in the standard King of Pen size, it is actually longer than the regular King of Pen, and it's also slightly girthier as well. And that's why I do love my Sailor King of Pens, and also my classic pens LB5 more. Now, I would love some more colours on this, but these pens were expensive to start with. They shipped retail for, I think, $1,500 and they have gone up in price massively, where you see people advertising these for 5,000, 6,000, 7. I've even seen 8,000 with a sort of King Eagle nib or an Emperor nib, King Emperor nib. Insane prices. But so I don't think I'm going to probably purchase any more unless they come in at a very decent price, and I think that is going to be rare, or unless I maybe swap it with another pen in my collection. That's always a possibility, but I just don't think I could pay $5,000 or $6,000 for essentially what is a resin pen. They are beautiful though. You can see this beautiful material. It's a diffusion bonded acrylic, and diffusion bonded basically means they press layers and layers of this resin together or acrylic together, and it just fuses at the molecular level, and you start to get this lovely pattern. Very expensive to do, as I understand it. It's not cheap. I know Parker also did it as well on a few pens. This also has a Sailor King of Pen nib, and this also is a converter as well. Now, one thing you might not know is that you can swap the nibs. Now, Sailor King of Pen nibs are normally friction fit. They are not screw-in nibs. But you can swap the sections between a regular Sailor King of Pen, whether it's a Pro Gear or a regular cigar shape, and a Classic Pens LB5. Obviously, what you're going to want to do, though, is swap the same colour sections, so black for black. But you can do that if you want to. Can you post a cap? Yes, just like the Sailor King of Pen, you can. And it does make it very long, but it's not that back weighted because the cap is extremely light. I do like these pens a lot, and I'm glad I was able to. I think it was in, I want to say 2017. I'm pretty sure it was my first London pen show. Well, my first pen show actually that I went to. And I rushed to Sarge's table as soon as the doors opened for early bird. Got in there. There were a number of people already there. And I swiped this one up pretty quickly. Because it was my first pen show. I'd gone with a list of about a dozen pens. And I said, right, if I can get Classic Pens LB5, if I can get Classic Pens LM1. I wanted them both in this flame red. And I couldn't get the LB5 in the flame red at the time, the Kaen, because it had just sold out from Sarge. But he did have an LM1, so I bought that as consolation. So I got the LB5 and the LM1. That was my first pen show. Pretty dangerous. The next pen here is actually the Classic Pens LB5 Kaen. So fast forward, that was what, 2017. So fast forward 4 years, I actually got offered one of these, and I got offered this from a friend, William Shakur, and he had a couple. He had a red one, he had a green one, I think a purple one as well, and I bought this from William. He knew that I was after the red one. I always was. He watches my videos like you do. And so, again, this is a Sailor, and it says LB5, Kaen, and it's 38 of 50. Again, beautiful pen. Again, a number 8 size, 21 karat gold nib from Sailor. And again, it is a cartridge converter. I don't mind cartridge converters. In terms of writing, yes, I would prefer a lot more ink capacity, like from a Powervac or a piston filling pen, but I can always refill those fairly quickly. I can always take essentially a Pinida pen filler with me to refill most of those pens. The cartridge converters are a lot easier to clean, a lot easier to maintain, and if you really want to, if you have a faulty converter, you can just swap it out. But again, that's that diffusion bonded acrylic, beautiful material, really like it a lot, and they are still remaining some of my favourite pens in my collection. Also knowing that they are a lot more expensive as well, or at least selling nowadays. The next pen here is a beautiful, beautiful Danitrio, and this bit of a mouthful, like most Danitrios are. This is the Danitrio Chinkin Cage Momata on Takumi. Takumi is the cigar shape of the pen. Now, this is a beautiful work of art. You can see here not only the leaves, but the colours, the variation of those colours in those leaves. So this is a Chinkin pen. So this is like the gold etched into the pen that they do. And you can see here again a flower there. It's just beautiful work of art. Now, this is a Magna pen. It is a Urushi pen. It's an ebonite. So typically Urushi is done on an ebonite pen. Ebonite is hard or vulcanized rubber. It doesn't smell of rubber though. It has this very smooth touch, almost like acrylic, once you've got that Urushi lacquer on it. But this is a beautiful pen. I managed to pick this up at the London Pen Show, and that was March 2022. So that was good as well. And you can see there it has a number 6 size nib. It's a smaller nib, but it's a Danitrio Fireball nib. Beautiful nib, and I just want to actually have a look at that. I keep thinking that this is a fine nib. It is a fine nib. And then it's a cartridge converter pen. I do like this a lot, and I do love writing with that pen as well. Very, very bouncy nib. Beautiful writer. Another one that again is a bouncy nib and a beautiful writer is this one. This is a Danitrio Takumi Moonlit Grass Maquillé. And this was one that I also picked up at the same time as the LB5 Kaen. I picked this up again from my friend William Shakur. And this is a beautiful Akatamanuri red. You have the clip that is also Urushi lacquered. And it's called the Moonlit Grass because you've got the moonlight there. And then you've got the moon shining on this grass there. Beautiful pen. I am a fan of Akatamanuri. If I can get an Akatamanuri pen, I will. And again, this has a number 6 size Danitrio, and that's a Fireball nib. Again, that one, just double checking, that is a fine nib as well. These fine nibs do seem to be quite bouncy. Again, it is a cartridge converter, but look at the little stars that you've got on the section there. Maquillé, and then the signature as well. It's a beautiful pen. Can you post these? You kind of can, the Takumi models, but again, you've got Urushi. This grass here I can actually feel as well. Very similar to the Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagare. So I don't really want to mar that finish, to scratch it, to maybe scratch some of that paint off. It is Urushi lacquered. Urushi typically is, and a lot of lacquer is actually quite robust. So the chance of you actually scratching that off, I think, is probably rare. But I have seen it. I have seen staining as well over Urushi, ink staining. So it's something I would just be a little bit careful of. If you do own any Urushi pens, or if you want a Urushi pen and you are a cat poster, just bear that in mind. The next pen here is the Visconti, and this is the last Templar, and this is Jacques de Molay. And again, this is a beautiful pen. This was one of my birthday pens that I actually bought. and I actually had ordered it slightly late than I had hoped, because I couldn't think of any pen that I really wanted. And strangely enough, Marco Novelli messaged me and said, "I need to sell you a pen." And I said, "Oh, well, I need to buy a pen." And I said, "But unfortunately, you don't have anything that I want." And he said, "Yeah, well, I'm up for a challenge." And I said, "Great, okay." He said, "What do you want?" And I said, "This pen." And he goes, "That's a tough one. Let me see and I'll come back to you." And he come back to me and said, "Yeah, got it." And I'm like, uh-oh. So this is a beautiful pen. It is a chainmail pen, and it is just an amazing pen. It comes with a sword or a dagger, comes with a very oversized ring, signet ring, which is way too big for my fingers. Beautiful pen though, ivory color sort of resin, and it has a number 6 size Visconti, and this is the 23 cat palladium nib. It's a medium nib. This is a Parallax filler. I do like this a lot. It is a beautiful pen. I love writing with it. Did come actually writing a little bit dry, kind slightly misaligned, but I managed to correct that myself, and now it is a beautiful writer. Now, if you have the patience, try and learn to make a nib wetter. Start with a steel nib. Also, micro mesh, smoothing out a nib. If you get a fine nib or an extra fine nib and it really is too scratchy for you, give it a try. There's nothing to really lose. So that's what I did, and several years later, I'm very proficient in tuning my nibs, and I try to say tuning over modification, because it is really tuning a nib, and not all nibs are tuned out of the factory. Not all nibs are even tuned by retailers, so just be aware of that one. The next pen is this beautiful pen. It's an Onoto, and it's a Magna Carta. Now, I bought this. This was, I want to say, I think it was October 21 that I bought this. I was just thinking it might have been March, but March I bought the Chinkin in 2022, so this must have been October. Beautiful, beautiful pen, and I do like it. Actually, it was October. I remember now. It actually has the parts of the Magna Carta inscribed onto this anodized silver. This is a Sterling 925, AG 925. It's got the hallmarks there. Beautiful pen. You've even got the shield there as well. or the coat of arms, I should say. Beautiful pen, very heavy, around 95 grams in weight. You've got a number 7 size, a Noto, fine nib there. It is a cartridge converter. You do have that there, but I like it. And again, there's nothing wrong with cartridge converters. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, cartridge converters. I wouldn't have a cartridge converter on a pen that's over, let's say, £300 euros or dollars, or £500 euro or dollars." Yeah, in theory, it would be nice to have a piston or a power vac, but equally, converters are so easy to repair. You just replace them. And although I don't think I've actually had a converter go really bad. I've had a few that have leaked and stained the outside of the metal of the converter, but I've not had any that have gone what I would say bad, where it just will not suck up ink. I know some people have. I know a lot of people in the past have complained about sailor converters doing just that, but I haven't had that issue. But it's easy to replace that converter, so honestly, it doesn't bother me. The next pen here, again, is another beauty, and this is the Magna Carta Rosetta Stone. Now, I saw this recently this year, and in the summer, and this was actually selling as a. It wasn't brand new. It was through Roy at Izod's. He had actually bought it from a customer. It was unused, but it was in somebody else's collection. They decided to sell it, and I have to say that I saw the price and I messaged Roy and said, I really need this pen. And he agreed. He said it would go nice with my Magna Carta. Very similar in terms of look that you can see there. It really is very similar. It's a yellow gold here, not a rose gold. You don't actually have the coin that you do in the Magna Carta, so it's slightly shorter, and also this cap finial is tapered slightly differently. But it's a beautiful pen. So again, you have parts of the Rosetta Stone etched into this pen. Absolutely beautiful. And if you don't know what the Rosetta Stone is, it is a stone that was uncovered in Egypt. And I'm just going to show you here. This is the Rosetta Stone. Well, not the Rosetta Stone, but it's a duplication or replication of it. And this is amazing level of detail. So if I show you this here and then show you that there, it basically is showing the same hieroglyphs there. It is a stunning pen, and Onoto and UK silversmiths have done an insane job at making this pen what it is, and I absolutely love it. Again, 95 grams in weight, number 7 size nib. It does have a cartridge converter as well. I'll show you that there. But I like it. It really is beautiful, and I have to say, it is metal on metal threads, and I know some people complain about metal on metal because they can squeak a little bit. It doesn't bother me, and to be honest, I really don't hear much squeaking from those threads. Beautiful pen though, and I've got that inked up this week. Another beautiful pen is this one. It's a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles, and you can see the clock face there. Bartolomeo Ferracina was a clock manufacturer, and you can just see the beauty of this stacked celluloid. And I have to say, I really would like some more of these. So I will definitely be looking to add some to my collection, ideally in the shiny circles. So if you have a shiny circles and you're selling one, let me know, because I will most likely be interested. Obviously depends on the price. It comes with a number 8 size Montegrappa nib there. It's a medium nib. It's a piston converter. Sorry, a piston filling pen, not a converter pen. Beautiful, beautiful celluloid. So I have that one inked up this week as well. And then I have this one, which is the Montegrappa Extra 1930. And this is the Shiny Lines Dove. Lines because it goes up the pen, circles because it goes round the pen. Beautiful Montegrappa 1912 there, the year that they were founded. Beautiful pen. Again, stacked celluloid, and I absolutely adore this pen. Now, this was a Goulet exclusive. Normally you have silver sections. This is a celluloid section, number 8 size Montegrappa nib. It's a medium nib. All of the Montegrappa celluloid pens, the extra 1930s, the extra Ottos, the extra 8s, all have ebonite feeds. Beautiful pen, and I do like it a lot. So I have that one inked up this week as well. So I think with that, let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up today is the Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagare. So I think we'll do an ink swatch here. And you can see that this is quite a nice writing pen. I do think it's actually getting a little bit low on ink though, because it normally writes a little bit wetter than this. So this is the Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagare And this is a broad, and it's a 21 cat gold sailor nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ, and it is grapefruit. And this is actually, I want to say, an ink that I have always put in this pen. I don't think I've inked it up with something else. I might have once, but I've always gone back to KWZ Grapefruit because it's a really beautiful ink. The next pen here is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, another Sailor King of pen nib. Now, strangely enough, I'd got this nib or this pen before the Sailor King of Pens Sakura Nagare, and I really didn't like the medium nib on this, and that's why I went for a broad nib on the Sakura Nagare. And more recently, over the last couple of years, I've actually gravitated more towards the medium nib, and I really like this. So this is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki, and this is a medium. It's an Asian nib, so it's a little bit more like a Western fine, and it is a 21 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Uroshizuku, and it's Tsukushi, which beautiful ink. I like it a lot, and have to say, really enjoy that ink. The next pen inked up again is another Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen, or Flame Red. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And another beautiful red ink that I like. And I remember my favourite used to be Diamine Poppy Red and Diamine Wild Strawberry. I still like those inks. I still love the colours, but I have gone away from those a little bit more. So this is the Classic Pens LB5, and it's the Kaen, or Flame Red. Again, a medium Asian, so a little bit more like a fine or a medium fine. So again, a 21 cat gold nib because it is a Sailor King of pen nib. And then the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is a beautiful red ink. I'd say it's a mid red, but it actually drives a little bit more of a darker red, and I actually love the colour that it goes on. Kind of wish it would stick that way a little bit and not dry a little bit more darker red, as in oxidization type thing. The next pen here is a Danitrio, and I'm just going to abbreviate this one. It's the Chinkin. It's the Cage Momata on Takumi. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And you can see here that it is a fine nib, but it's also actually quite a lovely wet writer as well. So this is the Danny Trio, and I'm just going to abbreviate this and call it Chinkin. It's fine, and it is an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Uroshizuku in a hoe, which is discontinued. I think Tsukushi is as well, actually. In a hoe is a really nice colour. I think I've got 2 bottles now, or bottle and 3/4 or a half of, probably a bottle and a half of Tsukushi, and I've got 3 bottles of, or 2.5, 2 3/4 bottles of in a hoe. Very, very nice inks, and I do like those colours. They are very, very lovely colours. So for me, they are great inks. The next pen here is a Danitrio Takumi Moonlit Grass, and this is a Makie. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is, again, a nice red ink. I have to say that it's beautiful colour. So this is the Danitrio. And it is the Takumi Moonlit Grass. And it, again, is a fine, and it is an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here today is KWZ, and it's Beef Eater Red, which is a beautiful UK Pen Shows exclusive ink. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And again, beautiful writing nib. I love it a lot. I typically go for Diamond Earl Grey on this one because I find it's in this pen it is a lighter grey, and I think it matches the grey on the pen quite nicely, or the silver. So this is a Visconti, and it is the Jacques de Molay. It is a medium, and it is a 23 cat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine, as I've already mentioned, Earl Grey. This is a very, very beautiful grey ink. And I keep thinking I may try some more grey inks, and I have actually. I've tried an ink, Van Vistus Londra, was it Fumo di Londra, Fog of London, which I do like a lot. I've got Pilot Orochizuku Kirisami, which I also like a lot. The next pen inked up is the Onoto Magna Carta. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I do love how this writes. It is a good writing nib. So Onoto, the gold nibs are Bock. The steel nibs more recently are Yovo. I did find this nib was slightly misaligned when I got it, but I corrected that, and that's perfectly fine now. But this is the Onoto Magna Carta, and it is a fine, and it is an 18 cat gold Bock nib. And then the ink in here again is Diamine Earl Grey. But you can already see that this is going on a lot darker than the Visconti nib there on the Last Templar Jacques de Molay. The next pen here is the Onoto Rosetta Stone. So we'll do an ink swatch here as well. And this is, again, quite a nice grey ink, and one that I am loving a lot. So this is the Onoto Rosetta Stone. And again, it's another fine and 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is a Pilot Orochizuku, and it's Kirisami. And I very nearly inked that up with Van Vustus Fumo di Londra, but I already have that inked up in a Montegrappa at the moment, so I didn't really want to ink it up in another pen. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles. We'll do an ink swatch here, and I know what I just said about not wanting to ink up another pen in the same ink, but this one is. But this is why I didn't want to ink that one up. So this is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina shiny circles, and it is a medium 18 cat gold nib, and then the ink in here is actually Diamine Earl Grey. So I've actually got quite a few greyish pens inked up with Diamine Earl Grey, so I kind of just wanted to not ink the Onoto Rosetta Stone up in that one. And then the last pen here is a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. And shock horror, guess what? It's actually inked up with the same ink again. But this is quite a nice wet nib. Even the Bartolomeo Ferracina is quite nice wet nib. So this is a Montegrappa. And this is the extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. And it is a medium, and it is an 18 cat gold nib, and as I had mentioned, it is inked up with Diamine Earl Grey again. I'm just loving writing with grey inks lately, or more so Diamine Earl Grey, I guess. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. So we have a Sailor King of Pens, Sakura Nagare, in a broad 21 cat gold nib inked up with KWZ Grapefruit. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki in a medium 21 cat gold nib inked up with Pilot Roshizuku Sakushi. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kaen in a medium 21 cat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Danitrio Chinkin in a fine 18 cat gold nib inked up with Pilot Roshizuku in a Ho. We have a Danitrio in the Moonlit Grass in a fine 18 cat gold nib inked up with KWZ Beefeater Red. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay in a medium 23 cat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have an Onoto Magna Carta in the fine 18 cat gold nib inked up again with Diamine Earl Grey, but you can see the two differences here between those greys. We have an Onoto Rosetta Stone in a fine 18 cat gold nib inked up with Pilot Roshizuku Kirisami. Now, I do find this is a little bit more of a graphite coloured grey. We have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in the shiny circles in a medium 18 cat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. And then last but not least, we have the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove in a medium 18 cat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. So there you have it. That's my county ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.